Hi, brother teacher here. Do you spank your child? Or if your child is much older now, have you spanked your child as they were growing up as a form of discipline? Well, some people believe that you shouldn't put your hands on your children to enforce discipline. I tend to lean towards what the scripture says, the Bible, the Holy Bible, not the Bible of man. I've seen many people, and more so our white neighbors and counterparts, issue what is called time out when little Susie or Bobby gets out of hand. Uh, my mother used to say when we were coming up, and my grandmother, you're managed, which means that you're behaving not so well. You are out of control even at times. I don't necessarily subscribe to the timeout, but what I subscribe to is the communication between you, the father, the mother, and the child. Talking to your child. Understand that they are very impressionable, even at a very, very, very young age, 1 year old. Now, you might think that your child does not understand what you're saying, but I beg to differ. I have 5 grown children, and I have a young child now, and I have been watching them through their development. I have always believed in talking to my children. For example, Amanda, my middle daughter, she would get cookies along with her brothers and sisters, and we'd have the cookies on the stove. And I'd say, because I knew Amanda, said, I don't want anyone going on the stove taking any more cookies. You've already had your cookies and milk, whatever the case was. Okay, I said, does everybody understand what I said? Yes, Daddy. All 4 or 5 of the children at the time, even Amanda. I leave out of the kitchen, go do something in the house, come back. The cookies would be out of order from the way in which I set the cookies. So I'd call all my children and I'd say, come here. Who went in the cookies? From the oldest one down to the youngest one. And I could tell over a period of time what little triggers made them nervous when they were lying. And I happened to look at my one son, and he said, no, Daddy, I didn't go in the cookies. So I go to the other son, and I go to my daughters. And then Amanda, I'd ask her, Amanda, did you go in the cookies? She said, no, Daddy. But as I'm looking at Amanda, her countenance is illuminated, and she has chocolate on her teeth. Yes, Amanda was the culprit, but she still said that she didn't go in the cookies. And I said, Amanda, did you eat the cookies? She said, no, Daddy. And I said, yes, you did, Amanda. Tell Daddy that you ate the cookies. She said, no, Daddy. Now, mind you, the evidence is on her face. We had chocolate chip cookies at that particular time that were oven baked, and she has the evidence all over her face and her teeth. So I'd send the other children away, and I'd stand there and I'd look at Amanda and I'd say, what did Daddy tell you? Now, mind you, I'm communicating with her verbally. I said, what did Daddy tell you? I said, didn't I tell you not to eat the cookies? Yes, Daddy. And I said, now, if you ate the cookies, what did I say that I was going to do? He said, you said you was going to spank me. I said, okay. I said, so you understand what's going to happen now, right? I'm going to have to spank you. And he said, no, Daddy. But anyway, I'm sure you get the point. But the real point is that I communicate with my children verbally. And I do believe in, some people want to call it corporal punishment, where you spank your children, using that method as a form of discipline. I firmly believe in it. Now, if I did not understand and know the scripture, I may have a different viewpoint. But because I know the scripture, I know that the scripture says, number one, spare the rod, spoil the child. We've been encouraged to spank our children when necessary. And it also says, and I'm not quoting this one verbatim, but the gist is still the same, that if you spank your child, you won't kill him. Okay? And of course, the one that is above all of those, train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. That doesn't mean that your child won't get in trouble. It doesn't mean that your child won't bump their heads against the wall. It doesn't mean that they will live their whole childhood into their years of being a teenager unscathed and without incident. It doesn't mean that. It means give them the foundation of what is right and wrong. You see, we are the first teachers, not the school systems, not the churches, not the so-called village, home, the parents. And albeit difficult for single parents to raise a boy child especially, or several children even, it is still your responsibility to raise that child in the way that is appropriate, especially in the eyes and the sight of God or Yahweh. It's important. It's vitally important, because what you are doing is preparing them for their future as an adult. And what you are as a child is going to be what you're going to be as an adult. Should I say it again? What you are and how you are as a child is what you're going to be as an adult. Understand this. Childhood only happens once in your life. It is a process to becoming an adult. There is a distinct difference in being a child versus being an adult. You're an adult for the rest of your life after you have come through childhood. Childhood is nothing more than development. So development, how? Physically? Once you have matured physically, that part's done. But what about emotionally? What about spiritually? Someone has to set you on a right path, teach you about right and wrong, teach you how to navigate in the world in which you live, the world in which you came into. Otherwise, you would have no clue. Now, the value of those lessons of being taught how to navigate in the world are solely based on the information that was passed down to us, the adults. If you got little information, if you are a young person having a baby, maybe you don't have that much information on how to raise a child or a family because you've never experienced it before, or never took note or paid attention to your mother or your father raising you, and or maybe your siblings or another family member, aunts, uncles. If you were not privy to that information, then it would behoove you to find other seemingly established families, hopefully in your own bloodline. If not, someone close that you know, a neighbor. It could be anyone. It could be a teacher. It could be a doctor. It could be a lawyer friend. It could be a police officer friend. It could be anyone. Anyone that seems to have a pretty stable life and seems to be on the right path in life. Use them as a role model. Even have a conversation with them and ask them, excuse me, ma'am, how do you change a diaper? How do you breastfeed? How do you do this? And how do you do that? Excuse me, sir. I have a little boy that I'm raising all alone. Can you give me some information on how I should raise him being a mother? There are resources and there are people that will be willing to help you. Now, if peradventure that is not the case and it doesn't happen for some strange reason, then there's always books. There's always the internet. You can look it up. You can study it. You know, being a parent is the hardest job that you will ever have in your life. Harder than any physical labor. Harder than any other vocation that you might choose. I don't care how high up the line it is in our society. Being a parent is the hardest job. You know why? It's simple. You are dealing with another mind. A person that has their own potential to be great or to be bad. To be great or to not be great. You want your child to aspire to do wonderful things in life, to possibly have a family, and to perpetuate the teachings that you, the parent, has given him or her. And hopefully those teachings are morally sound. There have been, and I have seen many times in my life, especially in the Black community, Black mothers raising their children. As I was talking, my little one came in, but I have seen mothers raising children that were cursing the children out, and you see them walking on the street and the children would be 10 or 15 feet behind them as if they didn't care about the child. All they cared about was a, welfare check. This is my baby. I'm well beyond middle age now, and I have no qualms with having another child. He's here, and I love him dearly. He is my inspiration. Now, if he were not here, it would not stop me from striving to achieve great things in my life still. But getting back to my point, should you spank your children? Yes. I've already given you the scripture. In your own time and using your own due diligence, you can search the scripture out. If you would like the scripture, actually, you can leave a comment and I will leave you those scriptures, specifically where to find those in the Bible. But because of the information age, we can find those things pretty easily through Google. But anyway, I believe in spanking my children. And getting back to the Amanda case, I did spank Amanda. She didn't like it. But you know what? It's love. On the outside, it might seem to some that, you are harming the child emotionally, that you're somehow going to cause them to fear people, or cause some psychological damage. That's not true. If the Creator that made all of us has let us know that it's okay to spank your children, then it's okay. As long as you do it with love and with temperance or self-control. It's just that simple. We're not supposed to beat our children. We're not supposed to take our anger out on our children because they are given to us. And they don't belong to us. They come through us. And they are a blessing from the Creator. Well, that was all I had to say. I would like to know what your feelings are on this subject. Should you spank your child? Or should it just simply be time out? I think you can give them time out. But most of all, talk to your children. From the lap to an adult, talk to your children. Get to know them. And they're not your friends. Because again, that's what separates us being an adult and them being a child. This is Brother Teacher. I love you. And Yahweh forever love you. And I will see you in the next video. Say so long to the YouTube. Say so long. All right. So long.